Hello everyone, and welcome to the Fluctus channel. Vertical and/or short takeoff and landing aircraft, or VTOL, are aircraft that only require a short runway, and in the case of VTOL, or vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, they don't require a runway at all. In the modern world, VTOL aircraft control the skies and are some of the most important jets of many navies' arsenals. On today's feature, we'll be going through the evolution of this technology, what it takes to fly them, and what the future may hold for them. The need for long runways and airbase infrastructure has always been an obstacle that many of the world's leading air powers and navies have tried to circumvent since the leading days of fighter jets. There has been a constant and growing need for more aircraft to be operable from the limited runway of the aircraft carrier. And this has resulted in the development of several VTOL-capable aircraft that can operate from the flight decks of an aircraft carrier. The first VTOL aircraft that was introduced to an Air Force's fleet was from the British Royal Air Force's Harrier Jump Jet project, which saw the Hawker Siddeley Harrier successfully have its first takeoff in 1967, and it was introduced to the Royal Air Force in 1969. According to aviation experts Thomas Sopwith, the Harrier was relatively easy to fly, even for amateur pilots, and could fly backward entirely under control. The Harrier ended up being a very lucrative export for the Royal Air Force, with the US Marines, Germany, and many others acquiring their own fleet of Hawker Siddeley Harriers. There was a total of 278 units made before the aircraft was retired in 2006. The Hawker Siddeley Harrier, being the first of its kind, had many inadequacies and needed to be replaced with more modern and reliable technology. Thus, the AV-8B Harrier came into being. It had its first flight in 1978 and was introduced to the fleet of the US Marine Corps in 1981. The aircraft had a single Rolls-Royce Pegasus turbofan engine with 2 intakes and 4 nozzles. There was also a total of 6 wing hardpoints on the jet that carry up to 9,200 pounds of weapons, including air-to-air, air-to-ship, and air-to-surface missiles. There have been over 300 AV-8B Harriers ever made, and the jet is still in production to this day. Its primary users are the US Marine Corps, the Italian Navy, and the Spanish Navy. On the other end of the Cold War, the Soviet Union had produced their own VTOL aircraft, the Yakovlev Yak-38. The Soviet Union started planning a VTOL aircraft sometime in the mid-1960s as a direct response to their Western competitors' projects. It had its first flight in 1971 and was introduced to the Soviet Navy's fleet in 1976. The Yak-38 was quite similar to the Hawker Siddeley Harrier in terms of exterior, but it was considered a much weaker aircraft internally. According to the manufacturer, Yakovlev, the Yak-38 was only the first made for the Soviet Union to gain experience in manufacturing a V-STOL aircraft. And the true star was supposed to be whatever the Yak-38's successor was going to be. That successor took its first flight in 1987, known as the Yakovlev Yak-141. This aircraft was meant to be a much improved version of the Yak-38. It would have been able to achieve and sustain supersonic speed and would have had similar combat technology to the leading fighter jets of the time. And it would be used to primarily defend the Soviet Navy. However, the project never really took off and was scrapped entirely in 1991, with only 4 Yak-141s ever being built, compared to the over 280 Yak-38s ever made. A more modern example of a capable V-STOL aircraft is the F-35B. For a background on this aircraft, the F-35 Lightning II is a stealth multi-role combat jet that was developed for the U.S. military by Lockheed Martin. It had its first flight in 2006 and was first introduced to the U.S. Marine Corps in 2015. The F-35B is the V-STOL variant of the jet that was specifically made for the Marine Corps to replace their fleet of AV-8B Harriers. The F-35B has a range of 900 nautical miles and a top speed of 1,200 miles per hour. The F-35B took a lot of influences from the Yak-38, as Lockheed Martin had worked with Yakovlev to buy some of the Yak-38's features and patents and incorporate them into the F-38B. While the V-STOL technology has been adopted by military aircraft, the future of V-STOL aircraft might be for civilian use. The Augusta Westland AW609 is a VTOL aircraft by Bell Augusta Aerospace that aims to be one of the first VTOL aircraft to be sold to consumers, mainly to VIPs. It aims to take on the private jet market, which is limited by the number of airports and also by landing permissions, providing people with ease of movement. From the Hawker Siddeley to the F-35B and now the AW609, we've certainly come a long way when it comes to V-STOL technology. V-STOL technology is now much more widely available than before, with a better design in terms of scale and efficiency. Though flying is made easy with technology, the surrounding elements of sea-based operations will always bring a few surprises and keep a trained and seasoned pilot well on the edge of their seat. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our new content. See you next time.